We work so you can play. MiniWarGaming's Warhammer Fantasy League Bat Rep.
Hey there, MiniWarGamers. Owen here from MiniWarGaming with Stephan to bring you the third game in the Warhammer Fantasy League. We've got 2,000 points. It's a meeting engagement between the Dark Elves and the High Elves. So we've got the classic enemies. We'll show you the armies, and we'll get this underway.
And here we have the High Elf army. Up front, we've got a level 4 wizard. He's a shadow wizard. And we've got a whole unit of white lions sitting here with full command, of course. We've got a Lyrian riders, unit of 5 of them. Then we've got a big group of Phoenix Guard, because Phoenix Guard are awesome. Bunch of archers, 2 bolt throwers. Then he's got the Frostheart Phoenix. And we've got 2 chariots, and then a unit of Silver Helms. That is the High Elf army. Over here we've got the Dark Elves. And we have, right in the middle here, we've got my Dreadlord. Now he's outfitted a little bit differently because I lost the pendant. We've got a level 4 life sorceress. We've got a hag with a cauldron and then a big unit of witches around her. 10 crossbowmen, 10 crossbowmen. Another group of cold ones because cold ones are awesome. And crossbows and crossbows. And that's it. There's my Dark Elves. Now the way the meeting engagement works is you roll for each unit and model and whether or not they, or each unit and character. And on a 1, they don't arrive. So my Dreadlord's not in, these guys are in, Cauldron is in, Witch Elves are in, Archers are in, other Archers are in, and the Cold Ones are in. So everybody except for my General has showed up to the battle. Sorcerers in, Archers are in, Phoenix Guard are not in, Illyrians are in, Axemen are in. Yeah, basically everyone shows up for him except for his Phoenix Guard, and everyone showed up for me except for my Dreadlord. Which is unfortunate because I do like having my general around. So here we are deployed. We're squared off across the center here. You have to deploy 6 inches away from that center diagonal line. And here we've got the elves all across here, the other elves over there, mostly in the one corner facing towards my cold ones, with only a few units facing towards my witch elves and massed archers. So here we go. He did not steal the initiative, so we've got Dark Elves turn 1. The Dreadlord arrives and walks onto the board. And we also forgot that he has his Vanguard movement, so he moves up with his Illyrians. I did not fail my stupidity and decide that I'm going to charge him, and I actually make it, but he decides to flee, and so he flees back 9 inches, and so he flees first, then I have to try and charge him anyway, so I move up 6 inches towards him. And that's all that happens, because I fail the charge because he broke. Here we go, the Witch Elves in the center are going to march forward, and now they head up their 9 inches, because they are only speed 5. Not give them the Banner of Swiftness. I did give them I can't even think of what it's called now. Razor Banner. These guys move up slightly to get in range of the crossbow, or the repeater crossbow. A little bit further, or repeater bolt throw, I guess. They have crossbows, but they want to get closer to get the bolt thrower. Flesh to Stone goes off, so they have +4 to their +2 to their toughness. Shield of Thorns, I get that as well. And now I'm trying to cast Dwellers onto one of his units here. And it goes off, but he dispels it. So no Dwellers onto his unit of Archers, which was kind of overkill, but I wanted it to go off anyway, because any kill is worth killing. Here we go, my Archers are shooting at his Archers, and I get a few hits, and then I even do a few wounds, and fortunately they don't have any armor really. Or these are the White Lions, my mistake. That's why it was really worth it. I take that back. Should have gotten it, but I actually get a few wounds on him with my archers. My next unit of archers fires, and they do a few wounds as well, and he fails another 2. Now they do have a 4-up save because my guns are armor pierce, so it's -1 to his save there. Here we go, taking some shots at his bolt thrower, and unfortunately I don't do any wounds. And then the other unit of archers firing away, needing 6s against the Illyrians, and they get 2 hits, or a few hits rather, and a few wounds, and he fails 2. Yep, 2 of them go down. 3 of them go down. Ooh, rough. But he does pass his morale check on his turn to rally, and so the Illyrians are back in action. The White Lions 4 stride through the woods there and move up towards my crossbows. The Illyrians turn around, going and getting in front of my Witch Elves, and his chariots ride up along the flank here, trying to find a good position that they can get in there. Basically, he wants to just really crush my one's flank and then fight the rest of my army, whereas I'm doing basically the same thing by wanting to crush his other flank, and we're basically just squaring off against each other. Magic phase begins, and he gets a solid 9, but I do get my power dice from the channel attempt, He tries to cast the miasma onto my unit of crossbows, and it decreases their toughness by D3, which is by 1, so I let him do that. Here we go, he's trying to cast Withering on my Witch Elves, which goes off, and I dispel it. And then he's now firing his repeater crossbower at my archers, and he gets a few hits, and a bunch of wounds, and they die. And then fires the other crossbow, and he's got 6 shots. He hits with all 6, and then wounding on 3s, wounds with all 6, and it just wipes them out. So, bam, that entire unit was destroyed by those 2 crossbows, which was scary. I mean, didn't expect that. I wish I brought my repeater crossbows. I gotta get those finished painting. So here we are at the end of turn 1, and basically it's gonna be archers against white lions, witches against the world, and the cold ones against the other half of the map. But that's how it's going to go. So here we go. We're going to move into Dark Elves turn 2, and the combat's really going to get started. So first thing, stupidity. They do not fail their stupidity check, and now they're going to try and charge, and they do make their charge of 11. And bam. So I got to see if I can wipe this unit out on the charge before I get flanked by everything. The Witch Elves are charging. He decided to hold this time, so I hit him. And bam, Witch Elves are in. My archers move up, heading towards the gap behind the plague one, or the cold ones, and my Dreadlord moves up as well. Channeling, no one gets a channel. I start casting a few spells. He does dispel it, of course. Trying to cast Dwellers, which fails, and it does not go off. So here we go, firing my crossbows, getting a bunch of hits, and even a few wounds, and killing another 4 of his white lions. So we are really just peppering these guys to death with crossbows, which is what they're there for. I mean, I love my crossbows. If I could, I would totally bring all bolt throwers and crossbows, but unfortunately they took away a lot of the really cool ranged items that the Dreadlords used to be able to carry, like the Guiding Eye, but that's okay, it happens. Panic check, he does pass his panic check after taking a lot of casualties. The close combat begins, he passes his fear check, thanks to the reroll. And here we go, we've got the cold ones going up against his knights here, and I reroll 1s to wound. I get tons of wounds, but he makes a huge amount of saves. He only loses 3 of his knights here. And now he attacks back, hitting on 4s, and I do make my saves. His horses attack, hitting, doing a wound, and I fail one, so I lose one of my horses, and then my horses attack, hitting him on 4s, and they do a couple wounds, and he fails another one. So there we go. We've got him down by 4. He passes his leadership after losing combat, and so he holds, staying in the battle, which is not what I wanted. I wanted to win and overrun. But here we go, we've got the Witch Elves attacking these 2 guys, and we just did the Hag first, and she killed them. So the rest of them could have fought, but really it was just the Hag that did it all. And they overrun and move forward towards the archers. Now he had forgotten on his first turn to bring in his Phoenix Guard, but it does happen. So here we go, just a little bit of what happened on the Dark Elf turn. Wiped out, and now the archers are doing phenomenally well over there. And I'm about to lose this side of the board because that Frostheart is insanely powerful and is going to charge into the back of my cold ones and undoubtedly kill them, because it's just, you'll see. So it charges in, hitting them in the back. Can't fail its charge because it is flying. And he decided that he is also going to charge with the White Lions. Now he moves over here, bringing his Phoenix Guard in. We remember that he brings in. I get my stand and shoot, getting a couple wounds, and he fails yet another save, and so another one of his White Lions is killed, and then he makes the charge and is in combat. So he moves over his Trianoch chariots, moving up along the back there. Magic phase begins with him getting 7, and I do get a channel. He also gets a channel. So he's casting the miasma on my guys once again, which does go off thanks to the ability to re-roll one of his dice, but I do dispel it. Cast another spell, which he gets off, and I decide that I'm going to Dispel Scroll, and Soul Blight goes on, and it fails to cast. That's that. So here we go, we've got the crossbows shooting, getting a couple wounds here, and then the other bolt thrower shooting and getting a few more wounds here. But I do have a 5-foot ward, which I failed pretty much everything. So another 5 Witch Elves get killed, and now he's going to fire his archers into the big unit there. Tons of shots from their longbows, which a bunch of hits, bunch of wounds, and I fail a whole bunch more saves because I realized after this game that the big counter to the Witch Elves is any unit that has a large amount of, not necessarily strong shots, but just volleys of shots is a good way to kill these guys. So the close combat begins between the White Lions and my guys here, and I do get to attack first at least, and I kill 2 of them, but then he attacks with his great weapons and kills 3 of them anyway. So he charged, he has a banner, he did 1 extra wound. I did not have a banner, that's what it was. So they flee, and they fall back to right there. And he chases them right to there. So the close combat begins. Now, thanks to the Frost Heart, I have Always Strikes Last, which counters out my Always Strike First. So he now only gets Always Strikes First. Fortunately, he doesn't get to reroll, but now I don't get to reroll. And I don't get to reroll for my Hatred anymore, because that's only on the first round of combat. And so we just attack. I'm also -1 to my Strength, so I'm down to Strength 3. And they do actually kill 1. And now he attacks with his Frost Heart, attacking the unit of guys on the horsemen now. And I fail another one of my saves. Bam. And he moves up to get engaged with them. The mounts attack, trying to kill off some more horsemen. They do get a few more wounds, but he has a 2-up save, and he passes them both. So leadership 8, thanks to my general being nearby, and I do pass my leadership, not breaking. These guys fail their leadership, continuing to fall back, my archers there. And I do attempt to charge, which he then overwatches, killing another 2 more of my witches. And I make my charge. So they wheel and move, going around that building and hitting like that. And it turns out they actually clipped into the repeater bolt thrower as well, which is nice to see. These guys just kind of turn, getting in a position so they can start shooting. The magic phase starts, and I get 5 power dice. He does not channel, I do not channel. And I try and cast Regrowth. It goes off. And he gets uses ability to reroll the 1, and he does not stop it, so I get D3 plus 1, so I get 2 more Witch Elves back in action. And there we go. And now I try and get their toughness up, which goes off, and now I get 2d6 hits because I've got Shield of Thorns on them, and basically I get a bunch of hits and does a bunch of free wounds, and he makes a whole bunch of 6-up saves, and I only kill 1. But that's okay. Because now the actual combat begins, and now my units get to attack. So that was the Shield of Thorns killing them, because they don't have any armor saves. My archers now shoot at the White Lions, who actually make a save for once against my archers. And then the other archers are shooting at the Trianok chariots, hitting on 5s and wounding on 5s. Doing 1 wound, and actually failing his save against that 1 wound. So here we go. He has to roll his fear check, which he passed. It failed, but then he re-rolls because he's against Dark Elves. And so we're in combat. My Witch Elves attack, hitting on 4s, re-rolling, wounding on 4s, re-rolling, with 6s being auto wounds, and it just wipes out the archers. And now the other unit attacking the crossbows hits and wounds and kills as well. He does get his attacks back though, and he did only 1 wound, and I made my 5-up save, and that is the end of those guys. So I overrun and I go clean off the board, and basically they're gone, but they'll come back and turn around on the following turn. And that's it from him. So the combat here begins. Once again, he goes first, hitting on 4s and not getting a reroll because I have higher initiative than him. And does a wound, and I make my save. So here we go, the Frostheart attacks. And I fail one of my saves, so another one of my knights dies. Now my knight's attacking his knights, hitting on 3s. 1 missed, and then wounding on 4s because I'm only strength 3 now because it's -1 strength thanks to the Frostheart. And they actually do tons of wounds, but he has a 2-up save, and so he's okay. And then my mounts attack, and they actually do a couple wounds here, and they actually attack the mount. Now, I don't think we're able to do that, have the mount attack something else, so we probably made a mistake right there. Leave a comment, let me know for sure. But it actually did 1 wound. You'll see that this makes very little difference in a moment as I lose combat because, yeah. My mount attacking his mount does 1 more wound. He has yet another 2+ save, and he passes that one as well. Leadership 8, they fail. And now we definitely made a mistake here. They should have fled away from the larger unit. They should have fled away from the Silver Helms, but instead we messed up and had them flee away from the Frostheart. Basically, he decides to overrun with everything, and he does catch them. And so the Silver Helms run over my Cold Ones, and that is the end of my cavalry in this game. And then they move 9 inches that way because, like I said, we did mess up. They should have been going the other direction towards my table edge as opposed to closer towards my army. which that's the difference in the game. But this thing comes around behind as well, and that's basically it for the High Elf turn. So High Elf begins, rather, or that was the end of the Dark Elf turn. So the High Elves, he charges these guys, they continue to flee and flee off the board, and he moves up a few inches here, just to the outside of the forest. Now he fails his charge because he wasn't able to catch them, even though they fled off the board. But anyway, he just moves over right to there, and they all kind of hang out on the forest edge. The Frost Dart moves behind my archers, not charging them, but just moving behind them because it can march and fly and then turn around. And the Trianoc chariots move over in such a way that they can go wherever they need to be after doing a few wheels, and the Illyrians move up not wanting to charge. The Phoenix Guard turn facing down my unit here. The Bolt Thrower shoots into the side of the, or shoots into my Dreadlord, which gets a hit, and he's down to 1 wound now. Do a little bit of a shuffle around, moving my Sorceress around in my unit, and moving the Witch Elves around. Now, thankfully, I haven't been wounded by the Witch Elves attacking. I've just been lucky. Unfortunately, I didn't record that. But it is something that does happen. Be careful when you put non-Witch Elf characters into units of Witch Elves, because you run the risk of dying. But I'm apparently lucky in that regard, and yet, we'll see. So I cast a few life spells, healing my Dreadlord and toughening up my unit, giving them all +2 to their toughness. But then I miscast, getting a large blast over top of my Sorceress, which does not wound her, but it wounds a whole bunch of the other ones, who then try and make their 5-up saves, and I lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Yeah, 5. There we go. Now here goes my archers taking a shot at his chariots. Tons of hits and tons of wounds, which was surprising, and he actually failed a number of wounds and lost one of his chariots. Here we go, the other archers shooting at his White Lions, which they do a bunch more wounds once again, and he fails another save. So another one of his White Lions is dead. Here we go. Close combat, my Dreadlord is attacking the Illyrians in the back, and he does do 3 wounds, and they fail 2 of them, or these are the Silverhelms, sorry. And so the Silverhelms turn and attack back, getting a couple hits and doing a few wounds, but he does make his saves. The Mounts attack, hitting on 6s, because he's -1 to hit, and he does not do any wounds there. So he fails his leadership check, and I try and chase him, and the Dreadlord rallies to, or reforms to not chase them, sorry, and they ran off the board, so here we go. The Illyrians are gone, or the Silverhelms are gone, and the Dreadlord's on the prowl. Moving into the High Elf turn, he does a swift reform, so he can basically turn and then move. And he turns and moves and stands right in front of my crossbows, charging his Trianoc chariot and his Frost Dart into my archers. My archers stand and shoot against the chariot, and they actually kill it, shooting it to death on its way in. But the Frost Dart is here, and he is going to crush them. The Phoenix Guard move in and attack, charging into my Witch Elves, because why not? Magic Phase begins. He only gets 4 power dice, and I do not get any, but I got 3. Tries to do his miasma on my crossbows, which I try and stop for some reason, and I do. And that's basically it. So here we go, shooting at my Dreadlord with his crossbow, which he gets a couple hits and does a wound. And I make my save. Yeah. There we go. And he actually didn't roll to wound yet, and he failed the wound anyway, so it didn't matter. Here we go, did 1 wound against the Frost Dart on its way in, and it passed its save. So now it attacks back, getting its attacks, hitting twice, wounding on 2s, doing 2 wounds. So I actually make my parry save, which is hilarious. And now he Thunder Stomps for 1, doing no wounds, but I still lose combat because it's a flank charge, and he did a wound, and blah, blah, blah. So I fail. And I'm running 2d6 away from the Frost Dart. I only run 9, and he runs 9, and that is the end of my archers. So they're dead too, and the Frost Dart moves over 9 inches, flying through and basically running over everything that it can. Because the Frost Dart's just an amazing creature. I wouldn't see why you would not bring one in a High Elf list after having played against it in this game. So the combat begins over here, and we let him do his attacks first. My Witch Elves we all attack simultaneously because we all have always strikes first, but now I attack back with the Hag. She's getting auto wounds and then wounding on 4s and then re-rolling the wounds and then also re-rolling the hits, and she kills 2 of them off the bat. The Witch Elves themselves attack, hitting on 4s, re-rolling to hit, 6s auto wounds, hitting 4s to wound, re-rolling to wound, and they have armor pierce, so he's -1 to his save and then has his 4 board saves. So they end up killing 8, 9, 10, 11. Bam. And now the Sorceress attacks, hitting and wounding, And he's got to make another 5 up, 4 up. So 5 plus, fail, 4 plus, fail. And another one goes down. He fails his leadership check. I charge and chase and run down, and they're all dead. So that is the end of the Phoenix Guard, and the Witch Elves just kind of overrun them, moving up and stopping at the obstacle, which is that building. Dark Elf turn begins. They do a bit of a reform, changing their shape and basically re-ranking their guys, getting them in such a way that it would make more sense when I'm about to charge into a bolt thrower, which is probably going to shoot them first, and then we'll get in the combat. So I just kind of adjust them over so everyone's kind of ranked up. There we go. And once again, I do need to get the new cauldron, but this is the cauldron that I have, the one that it used to come with, and so there he is sitting into the unit. My Dreadlord moves up, moving into the unit as well, because why not? And magic phase begins. Well, why not is the risk that he might die, but he seems to be doing okay, or at least the sorceress has been doing okay. Try and cast Regrowth. He does dispel it because he's a jerk. And I try and cast Dwellers on the bolt thrower crew, which I miscast, and it only kills one, and I roll a 4, so it's a large blast that hits basically everyone in my unit. Wounds my sorceress, my Dreadlord fails it, my sorcerer fails it, so she takes a wound, and the cauldron takes a wound and fails its save. So the hag loses a wound, and now the rest of them all take wounds on 2s, which most of them fail, so nearly all my witches are killed. I think there's only 3 left in the end. And my wizard is not sucked into the warp, or the realm of chaos, as it's called in fantasy. Crossbows shooting once again, and they kill another 3 more of his white lions, putting him down to 2 here. And he fails his leadership, but I'm Dark Elves, so he re-rolls. So High Elf turn begins. He moves his guy out of the unit and keeps his 2 white lions standing between me and them. The Frostheart comes flying, marching across 20 inches, heading towards me, and it's just kind of coming from behind. The magic phase begins, getting huge power dice, no channel for me. Once again, debuffing my guy by another 1, so they're down another toughness, and Withering, or sorry, that was to lower their initiative. Now he's casting Withering to lower their toughness, which their toughness 1. I don't really care, because it's not going to matter. All these spells are redundant until the following turn. Bolt Thrower shoots, aiming at my guys here, getting a bunch of hits, wounding on 3s, bunch of wounds. I allocate as many to the Witch Elves as I can, and then my other guys have to take them. Lookout Sir on my Dreadlord, fail. Lookout Sir, he has his save, he makes his save. The Sorceress fails her Lookout Sir, she has a 6 up, and she fails it, so she loses a wound. And basically everybody's wounded over there, so we had a little bit of a debate because it got confusing because of who's who. But a Witch Elf dies, and the Sorceress takes a wound. So right now I'm down to 2 Witch Elves, the Sorceress, the Dreadlord, and the Cauldron. And that's all I've got in there. Dark Elf turn begins. They charge the Repeater Bolt Thrower, getting into combat. And these guys charge the White Lions because this is it. Might as well. Magic phase begins. We get 4 power dice. No channel for him, no channel for me. And I don't want to cast anything, so I just do the attack in combat. My Dreadlord kills the Bolt Thrower, and then they just reform and face the other way. Here we go, the Dark Elves attacking the unit of White Lions, and hitting on 4s, re-rolling, because we have equal initiative, and then wounding on 4s, so we get 4 wounds, and they've got 5 plus saves, and he fails 3, or I did 5 wounds, there we go. And it kills the White Lions, so then my guys then overrun, because that's what they do, and they go 11 inches, which runs them right into the Sorcerer, who's hanging out in the woods there. You can't see him, but he's in there. I know he's in there. There he is. And so he's now having to fight against them. Here we go, the High Elf charge. He's trying to charge with his Frostheart into the back of that unit. He needs 12, and he doesn't get it. So, while possible, it was rather unlikely, and it moves up 6, and that's it, because this is the last turn of the game. Magic phase, he gets huge power dice, so he can actually try and debuff, so he withers on these guys. Well, he got a miscast, so he's trying to do an explosion here to try and blow up my unit and survive. So, D3 to my stats goes down by 3, so they're down to initiative 1, and the explosion is an 8, so he takes his own, he takes a wound and makes his save, but he loses D6 of his power dice, which is the rest of his power dice. And that's that. Here we go, the combat begins. He hits and does not wound, so my guys, the 6 of them that are in combat, attack, hitting on 5s. And we have Hatred, so we reroll, not necessarily because they always strike first, but we do 1 hit and 1 wound, and there we go. He's got to make his 4+, which he fails, so he takes a wound, So we charged him, he took a wound, we have a rank, so we win by 3, and he's leadership 6, which he fails, but he re-rolls because we're Dark Elves. Oh, did we mess up right here? Oh, we did. Uh-oh. So he might not have broken. We're gonna have to fix that in the future, Stephen. But that is the end of the game. The archers are on the run, or they've overrun. These guys are standing here, and unfortunately it is a Dark Elf victory because the majority of my points is still alive sitting in that Witch Elf unit.
And these elves that are all dead, with 10 more that are over there that are dead. And yeah, so we're going to talk about this in the post game. And leave a comment below. We probably made rules mistakes. I haven't played a lot of fantasy. I've been trying to remember all the rules. I don't think we missed anything, but it's entirely possible something came up that was missed. So let us know. Leave a comment below. And stay tuned for more games from the Warhammer Fantasy League. Happy wargaming.